I got 4 methods to show you on how to temporarily stop a leak in a copper water pipe, and you're not going to need a lot of tools. No, I'm not talking about using that epoxy tape garbage that you see advertised on the late night commercials. I'm talking about tried and true methods. And truthfully, depending upon the state you're located in, this could be a permanent fix. So hold off on calling the plumber. But all that's coming up right now. Hey, welcome folks. Bob here from Bob'sPlumbingVideos.com. On this channel, I provide free plumbing tutorials for people who don't want to call a plumber. No scientific data, no fancy chemical breakdown of the materials I use in these videos, just common sense solutions to everyday plumbing problems. After all, folks, you shouldn't have to take out a mortgage to be able to afford a plumber. If you're new to the channel, I highly recommend you subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit that bell notification so you'll be notified of when I post a new video. Now, let's get into this video. Oops, I almost forgot. Get lost. All right, first up on our quick fix to a leaking copper water pipe is a device called the Kabash Rapid Pipe Repair. Now, I'd never heard of this device before. I was searching some titles on YouTube looking for some video ideas. This popped up. I saw a video about this. And before I go any further, I am going to do a full-fledged video about this device. I'm not going to do that in this particular video now. I'm just going to show you how this works. But I will go in depth about what it can do and the manufacturer specs and recommendations and the cautions and all the rest of that stuff. But this was developed by a gentleman by the name of Ross Dickinson. He's a plumbing and heating engineer over in Scotland. And he developed this, and I believe in 2013, this hit the market, but he has patents on this device in the UK, the United States, New Zealand, and Australia. And I just thought that this thing is the greatest thing I've ever seen for a quick repair. I mean, you simply wrap this around where the leak is, whether it be a hole that somebody maybe drove a screw or a nail through, or some guys were putting flooring down and they accidentally poked a hole in a pipe, and you put this on and basically give it a squeeze and you clamp this, and that's it. The water stops. I've seen it work. I have not personally used one of these yet, but I purchased a 1/2 inch and a 3/4 inch version. 1/2 inch in the UK, that would be 16 millimeter, and the 3/4 version is, I believe, 22 millimeter. So this thing here can be put on really without having to shut the water off. You can open up the wall, pick up that floorboard, find out where that water's leaking. Depends on the situation now. You know, I mean, not every place is going to be accessible, but this goes right on. You squeeze it, you clamp it, and that stops the water temporarily. You have to make a permanent repair. This is not a permanent repair. This is a temporary repair, but this can mean the difference between thousands of dollars of water damage and getting it under control until you can get the plumber to come. So let me pull up a piece of copper here, and I'll just show you, you know, give you an idea how this works. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a piece of copper, and I just made a little dot in the middle here, as you'll see. So that's going to represent a hole that maybe somebody was putting down some flooring and they poked a hole in the copper, or somebody was putting up drywall and they got a sheetrock screw right through the copper. And I also put this little zigzag here to note where a line may have frozen. It'll have split lengthwise. Now, with this Kabash clamp, you have, I drew these 2 lines here, you have 1.5 inches, approximately 1.5 inches. That's the safe zone with this clamp, that you can actually, you know, cover a split up to 1.5 inches. If it goes beyond 1.5 inches, then this Kabash clamp is not gonna work, and you can use one of the methods coming up. But at any rate, simply the water spewing out, the water spraying out, you just discovered the water's leaking, you're panicking, I don't know what to do, you can't find the water shutoff valve. If you have one of these available, it's just a matter of placing it on the pipe. You want to center it. If you have a split, or if you have a hole, you want to get that in between the safe zone there, where I have noted with the 2 marks, and simply you gotta close this thing. Now I'm squeezing it with my right hand here, and then I'm gonna clamp it on, and then I'm simply gonna. That's it. Leak is stopped. Now you got time to call the plumber. You got time to breathe. You have stopped the water. I'm telling you, I've seen this on some videos, and it's incredible the way it works. Again, I'm going to do a full-fledged video about this because there are some cautions on the label, um, in terms of what type of liquids it will stop, how hot the water's got to be, etc. But anyway, this has a pressure rating of 150 psi, so you can stop water up to 150 psi. This will get the job done until you can get the plumber. The other thing is, if the pipe is running between a beam or it's running between a notched out piece of wood, this is actually made so you can slip this in between the notch. You can actually wrap it, slip it between the notch, and it'll work. So guys, I think this is a fantastic product, even though I haven't used it yet. I wish I invented it. No doubt about it. This is revolutionary to me. Right now, my understanding is it's only available for 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. I think Mr. Dickinson plans on making it for larger pipes, but as a quick fix, I don't know what to do, I think this is a great thing. So keep this in mind, the Kabash Rapid Pipe Repair. Again, at the end of the video, I'll leave links to, where I actually, I purchased mine through Amazon. I'll leave links at the end in the description box below. So let's move on to my second example of how you could, nix a leaking water pipe. Not as fast as the Kabash clamp, but nevertheless, it'll get the job done. Hey, so what did you think of that Kabash clamp, guys? Fantastic, unbelievable product. I can't wait to use it live in the field. Now, none of the upcoming examples are going to be as quick as the Kabash clamp. As a matter of fact, in the following 3 examples, you are going to have to find a way to shut the water off, whether that's the main water valve, whether that's the branch valve that's actually connected to the line that's leaking, the line in question. You're going to have to shut the water off, and the best case scenario would be for you to drain the water down. But that being the case, what I did was I took the liberty of cutting this pipe in half here. There was a hole in here, and I just basically cut right down the center of the hole. You have a couple of choices when it comes to cutting. You can use this as a close quarter cutter that clamps onto the pipe, and you need very little room to get this to rotate. Alternatively, I have my number 10 cutter here that I use often. This is my regular tubing cutter. But whatever the case may be, if you don't have a cutter, you could even get a hacksaw blade or a mini hacksaw blade and cut this. In either case, in this example I'm going to show you, and the following example, which would be example 2 and example 3, you're going to have some way to have these pipes pull apart. You're going to have some kind of lateral movement in order to get these fittings in. Now, this piece of pipe here on the left, I have it locked stationary in a vise. On the right side here, it's actually just leaning on a milk crate. But if you're able to pull the pipe apart, the next 2 examples you'll be able to use. And the first example is a compression fitting. And a compression fitting simply is what it states. It's a compression fitting. It's a nut on both sides. It's a compression coupling. And inside you have what they call here in America a ferrule. I think in the UK they call it a nut. And you have one on each side. And what you're going to do in order to make this particular fitting work is first you're going to want to go in, get some emery cloth, get some Scotch-Brite. You're going to want to buff off the outside. What you want to do is you want to knock down any rough edges off the outer edge of both of these. Then if you wish, if it's going to be a temporary repair, I guess it doesn't matter, but you go in there with your deburring tool and you can deburr the inside of the copper on both sides. This step can be left out until you make the permanent repair, but whenever you cut tubing, it's a good idea to go in there and deburr. Then you're going to get your compression coupling. You're going to take it apart and you're going to slip your nut on one end. Just slip your ferrule on. Same thing on the other side. So you put your nut and your ferrule. Then you will come in, put the compression fitting on here, get this started. And then again, like I said, as long as you're able to pull the pipes apart, you'll get this in here. And then we can start this nut here. And then you can use your channel locks on one end. You can hold back with your channel locks and then go get your open end wrench or adjustable wrench, whatever you call it. And you can come in here and start to tighten up your compression nuts until they're fairly firm. Then you can whack pretty much away with this particular fitting. Now, in some jurisdictions, this is a permanent fix. You can most certainly leave this in there and it's a permanent fix. You can turn the water back on. You'll be good to go. I don't know if there are some states that don't allow these compression fittings, but I think in most states they do. I'm not a fan. I personally wouldn't do it. I'd probably come back the next day and put a permanent fix in there with a soldered coupling. But be that as it may, you're in a pinch. It's at the end of the day. You were working at night. You had workers. They put a screw through pipe. They were putting flooring down. They put a down through pipe. Quick way to do it. The quickest way to do it is with the Kabash clamp. The second way to do it is with a compression coupling. And if you have the luxury of pulling the pipe apart and getting this in there, you'll be good to go. So let's move to our next example. All right, next example up is the SharkBite coupling. SharkBite coupling. Now, when you get these couplings, they come with these little plastic inserts inside. These are set inside here, and what these inserts are for PEX tubing. If you're going to be using this coupling on PEX tubing, they must be inserted into the tubing like this. And then you can proceed to use your SharkBite fitting. But because we're using this on copper pipe, you can actually pull them out and discard them. So again, as with the compression coupling, you're going to have some sort of lateral movement here. And what you want to do is you want to go and get this little depth gauge. I mean, if you don't have one, simply, you can basically eyeball the depth and put a mark there. You see that mark I have there? With this gauge here, you can simply slip the gauge over and you put your mark there. And also inside of here, you see that little wheel there? Actually it's a cutting wheel. And if you turn the tubing, it deburrs the outer diameter of the tube because there's an O-ring inside of this SharkBite fitting and you don't want to compromise that O-ring. So you would do it on both ends. You'd go on both ends, you'd make your depth marks. You want to come in here and deburr the outside. If you don't have this tool, I mean, you can certainly go in there with a file and deburr, follow it up with a little Scotch-Brite, clean it up, and simply, I will put this on the permanent. This is my stationary piece here in this example. So you can come on here like this. And you got to give it a good push. And you can see I went up to my mark here. And same thing on the other end. You got to go in there and you got to basically push this. And as you can see, I got up to the mark. Now this can't come out. Now, again, in some states, this is a permanent fix. It is not a permanent fix in New York. Because these are removable, New York will not allow us to use them. We can use them if it's of the non-removable type of fitting. And I don't think SharkBite makes unremovable fittings, but there are other companies. I've actually picked up a couple from Lowe's. But if it's a non-removable push fitting, we're able to leave it in there and we're good. We're up to code. And that's it. So that's choice actually number 3. Works well. Again, if in your state it's legit, you can leave it in there. It's a permanent fix. Again, this is something you're going to want to have the water off. You're not going to really, it's going to take a little time to get this prepared, and you don't want to have water spewing all over the place. So, and to get these off, SharkBite makes this little removal tool. And essentially what you have to do is, if you just snap this on here, and you have to push up against this plastic bushing here, and you push in, and you have to put some good force on it, and you push in, and you're able to take the pipe out. And if you don't have one of these fittings, again, if you don't want to go out and invest in the stuff here, you can get your adjustable wrench here and just basically close it up until it's snug up against the copper here. And actually you can push this up against that bushing. So you push up against the bushing, you twist the pipe and you pull it out, because there are little teeth in there that keep everything in there. So that is choice number 3. Again, not as fast as the Kabash clamp. Nevertheless, it'll get the job done. Let's move on to example number 4. All right, and finally, example number 4 is a slip coupling. Now, with this particular fitting, if you're not able to pull these apart to get it in there, as long as you have some lateral movement one way or the other with either side. Again, I have this piece of pipe stationary in a vise here. This end is in a milk crate, so for the sake of this video, you can see I can swing it by the stationary piece of pipe. So either or, this, you could swing this one or you can swing this one, makes no difference. But the idea with this is that you're able to slip it on, and you have somewhat of a 2.5 inch in between these 2 little black marks. You have a 2.5 inch safety zone, I guess you could call it. Because, if you have a hole in there, you're going to have to, in order to get this on, you're going to have to cut the pipe in half. But oftentimes I will use this when I had a pipe freeze up, as denoted by my little zigzag in between the lines I have there on the left and right. So that would represent a freeze where the pipe actually split, and I actually had to take a piece out. So you have up to approximately 2.5 inches to work with. So you can cut that piece out, cut the defective piece out. Again, before you use this coupling, you're going to want to deburr the outside of the pipe, clean it up, smooth it out. This way we don't have to worry about compromising the O-rings in here. And as you can see, this is the slip end. So actually, let's get an arrow on here showing you which end is the slip end. So in this case, I'm just going to turn this example around. And what we're going to do is we're going to slip it onto this piece of pipe here. So you can just keep pushing it. You have up to 2.5 inches, and then once you get it all the way where you need it to get it, so to speak, if you will, you're going to come here now. Now, in order to get this thing to go up to this mark, you're going to have to use this tool. Okay, I'm going to use this tool on the opposite end. I'm going to push it. I'm going to push up against that plastic lock washer, and then we can just simply twist and twist and twist until we get this thing to go right on there. And as you can see, I got it right up to here. So, let me just see if I can move this camera for you to get this all into frame here. And as you can see, so now you got a slip coupling. And again, I don't know what jurisdiction you're in. I don't know what state you're in. This could be a permanent fix. You could leave this in there, turn the water on, go about your business, close up the wall, and everybody's happy. I can't do that here in New York, but you may be able to do it in your state. Check with local codes. And that's pretty much it, guys. For all the items I used in this video, I will leave links in the description box below. And just so you know, just to be fully transparent, they are affiliate links. If you click on them and buy through those links, I make a small commission. Doesn't cost you any more money. Just allows me to fund the production of these videos, and it's much appreciated if you do use those links. And that's it, folks. You have the Kabash clamp, you have the compression coupling, you have the SharkBite coupling, and you have the SharkBite repair slip coupling. 4 ways you can get that water repaired or that water stopped relatively easily. And I hope you got something out of this video. I appreciate you coming here and watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. All right, guys, here is a bonus for you. Now I carry both 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch SharkBite caps. And if you're in a pinch, you don't have a Kabash clamp, regardless of which way the water is feeding, whether it's feeding from the left, whether it's feeding from the right, the water's leaking, you can take one of these push couplings and you can pretty much come in there and you can pop this on and done. You've stopped the water. Now, if this is the end that the water is feeding from, you've stopped the water. I also would recommend that you have another one of these and put it on the other end. Just to put it on there, because this may be going to a faucet and you may have capped the hot or the cold water line, and you want to prevent any water from backing down this pipe, especially if they open up the faucet and they open up both sides of the faucets. The water's going to migrate to I don't know which side the leak is in, but to prevent that, put 2 caps on there. So you can put a cap on the pressurized side and also put a cap on the line that's going to wherever it's going, whether it's going to a fixture, a toilet, a sink, whatever the case may be. Then tomorrow you can call the plumber in, have him come and do the permanent repair. And again, if SharkBite fittings are legal in your jurisdiction, you can certainly go out and get a SharkBite coupling. You can get a SharkBite repair slip coupling, or you can go out and get a compression coupling, unless you would like the plumber to come in and do some soldering and make a permanent repair. So there you go, guys. Stay well. I'll see you real soon. So there you go, folks. 4 useful ways on how you can temporarily stop a leak in a copper water pipe. I hope you found this video useful. I hope it did help you out. If it did, kindly subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell notification so you know when I post a new video. Also, don't forget to check out these 2 videos coming up to my right here. One of them I actually suggested, and the other one YouTube suggested. As always, folks, I look forward to seeing you soon again in my next video. Stay well, and as always, happy plumbing.